When we think of high performance, we usually think of top-tier athletes like Michael Phelps or Lionel Messi. However, the truth is that high performance is relative. We may not all win 23 gold medals or the World Cup trophy, however, we can all perform best in our own personal lives. So in that spirit, in today's video, I want to share with you 5 of my personal favorite high performance habits. Habits that I hope can help you achieve your personal and financial goals. Hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tay from Financial Tortoise, where we learn to grow our wealth slow and steady. My number one favorite high performance habit is to focus on small, incremental, marginal gains. As the name of this channel implies, I firmly believe in the slow and steady path to progress. In the fable Tortoise and the Hare, the tortoise didn't beat the hare because it was faster, stronger, or more talented. It won because it focused on progress and gains. No matter how small or slow they were, money in life often works the same way. It's easier to believe that someone who acquired wealth, or a resounding victory in a race, got there through sensational exertion and activity. However, the truth is that sustaining victories tend to be the result of small, incremental advances and improvements sustained over long stretches of time. Sir David Brailsford is probably best known for applying this concept to achieving resounding victory. If you've never heard of him, Sir David Brailsford is a performance coach that turned the British cycling team into an unstoppable force at the 2008 Beijing and 2012 London Olympics. An MBA graduate and a former professional cyclist himself, he applied the theory of marginal gains to cycling. He gambled that if the team broke down everything that went into cycling and then improved each element by 1%, they would achieve a significant aggregated increase in performance. Here are some things that the British cycling team did to achieve just that. The British cyclists raced on wheels rubbed with alcohol to enhance their grip. They wore electrically heated overshorts to maintain the right temperature for their muscles. They studied how surgeons washed their hands to reduce the risk of illness. They even brought their own pillows on trips so they were more likely to sleep well. And the result was resounding. At the 2008 Beijing Olympics, his squad won 7 out of 10 gold medals available in the track cycling, and they matched the achievement at the London Olympics 4 years later. It's easy to believe that in order to achieve success, we should focus on big, sensational activities. Quit my job tomorrow and go 100% into day trading, even though I have no track record of day trading success. Get a second mortgage on my home and invest that money into a brand new apartment complex when I've never done a real estate transaction before. Social media is full of these success stories where individuals bet big and won big. However, what we should do is think small and not big, and adopt the philosophy of continuous improvement through aggregation of marginal gains. Forget about perfection, focus on progression and compound improvements. Instead of quitting my job tomorrow to go all into day trading, maybe I could focus on improving my job performance to incrementally increase my income. Instead of getting a second mortgage, maybe I can focus on cutting back my food budget by 10% this month so I can get a better handle on my expenses. In the long run, it will be these small marginal gains that will have resounding impact on our finances and lives overall. My number 2 favorite high performance habit is to focus on systems, not goals. Another common belief with achieving success in our lives is that big audacious goals will lead to big audacious results. We want to get into better shape? We should set a goal to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year. We want to save more money? We should set a goal to save $10,000 by the end of this month. However, the truth is that while goals do serve a purpose in giving us a sense of direction as well as motivating us, they aren't the most effective ways to make progress. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, talks about in his book how in the Olympic Games, the winners and losers all share the same goal of winning the gold medal. No athlete is going to the game with the expectation that he or she will come home a loser. However, not everyone wins the gold medal. As Michael Phelps showed time and time again, only a select few win the gold medal. Therefore, if goals aren't what differentiates the winners from losers, what is? It is actually the system and process that gives us the best chance of winning in the long run. So what is the difference between systems and goals? Simply, goals are about the results you want to achieve, and systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Let's say you want to save $1 million by the time you're 40 years old. That $1 million by 40 is your goal. Now, the system is your savings plan, your automated investments, and your low-cost broad market index funds. Or moving slightly away from money, let's say you want to achieve 10% body fat by December 31st of this year. The 10% by December 31st is your goal. Your system is your meal plan and your workout schedule. Goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are what you need to focus on in order to make real sustainable progress. The 3-time Super Bowl winner Bill Walsh probably said it best. The score takes care of itself. That is, if you're focused on getting better each day, rather than staring at the scoreboard the whole time. And this is a primary reason why I love simplicity and automation when it comes to my finances and my investing. I like a simple 1-page budget. I automate all my investment transactions. And I like to use a very simple 2 or 3 fund strategy for my investment portfolio. In the long run, what will help us achieve financial success won't be our audacious goals to become a millionaire by the age of 30 or 40. Rather, it will be our system. My number 3 favorite high performance habit is to practice the art of subtraction, and to do this continuously. When it comes to the world of personal finance investing, there's so much information out there that it is easy to feel like we're never doing enough. I need to focus on developing my career capital so I can increase my income. Wait, I also need to set up my Roth IRA so I can save for retirement. Hold on, what is this portfolio rebalancing? Do I need to do something with my investments? The amount of information and to-do lists are essentially endless. That is why I personally have to tell myself to practice this art of subtraction. To ask myself, what is most important? Especially right now at this stage of my life. It's not to say that rebalancing your portfolio isn't important. However, if you're struggling to dial in your budget, that is where your focus should be on. Not rebalancing or backdoor Roth IRA. Oliver Sacks, an eminent neurologist and an author, was known for putting up a big yellow sign in his house with the word no written on it with block letters. In a memoir, he explained why he did this, reminding myself to say no to invitations so I could preserve writing time. The Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu wrote that the path to wisdom involves subtracting all unnecessary activities. To attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, subtract things every day. For me, this was most relevant when it came to selecting my investment strategy. I used to believe that sophistication and complexity went hand in hand, especially in the investing world. Smart investors know how to use different investment vehicles with different trading platforms, coupled with investing hacks to eke out the best return possible. However, after having researched and attempted many different pathways, I've come to a place where simplicity trumps all. Every time I introduce a new fund to my portfolio, I was adding another complexity to my life, and in essence, a distraction that would hinder the growth of my net worth in the long run. Today, I follow a very simple 2-fund/3-fund investing strategy. A Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, also known as VTSIX, to represent the majority of my equities holding. A Vanguard Total Bond Market Index Fund, also known as VBTLX, to represent my bond holding. And a little bit of Vanguard Total International Stock Market Index Fund, also known as VTIAX, to represent international funds. But to be honest, not a lot to make a significant difference. It is definitely not the sexiest and the most sophisticated portfolio out there, but it gets the job done, and that's what matters. Be wary of complex solutions. Most often, less is better. Practice the art of subtraction and pursue simplicity. My number 4 high-performance habit is a very practical one, and that is to become a voracious reader. As an immigrant who came to the United States at the age of 9, I would have to say the greatest life-changing habit for me was to become a lover of books. In my youth, because my parents couldn't afford after school or summer school, I remember my mom would just drop me off at the library whenever she could. It sort of became my home away from home, and I thankfully learned to fall in love with reading and books. And it is a common knowledge that anyone who achieves success in their lives shares this philosophy of loving to read as well. However, what is also important apart from just reading is that we want to read books and articles that expand our mind, not just validate what we already believe or think we know. According to Adam Grant, in the book Think Again, he talks about what sets great presidents apart from all other presidents. Experts assessed American presidents on a long list of personality traits and compared them to rankings by independent historians and political scientists. And only one trait consistently predicted presidential greatness after controlling for factors like years in office, wars, and scandals. It wasn't whether the president was ambitious, or forceful, friendly, or Machiavellian. It wasn't whether they were attractive, witty, poised, or polished. What set great presidents apart was their intellectual curiosity and openness. They read widely and were as eager to learn about developments in biology, philosophy, architecture, and music as in domestic and foreign affairs. They were interested in hearing new views and revising their old ones. They saw many of their policies as experiments rather than points to score. Although they might have been politicians by professions, they often solved problems like scientists. President Abraham Lincoln is probably most famous for this trait. He not only read opposing views regularly, after he was elected president in 1860, he appointed 3 individuals who actually ran against him as president onto his cabinet. Attorney General Edward Bates, Secretary of Treasury Solomon Chase, and Secretary of State William Seward. A sign of a successful individual is that he or she isn't afraid to have their thoughts challenged. They are more focused on wanting to find the best solution rather than being right. We're all ignorant of something, and books, especially those that challenge our current way of thinking, are some of the best ways to make us wiser. So read voraciously, but also don't just read books that support your point of view. Read those that stretch your thoughts. My number 5 favorite high-performance habit is that we should constantly look to reinvent ourselves. You might be curious to know what this means, so let me explain with an example. Dwayne Johnson, also known as The Rock, is one of my favorite examples of someone who mastered reinvention. Today, he's one of the most bankable Hollywood stars. With movies like Black Adam, Jumanji, and Fast and Furious, the sky's the limit to how far he can go. But none of this success happened overnight. When we wind the clock back to where he started, we'll see that he practiced this concept of reinvention over and over again to arrive where he is today. Given his physique, Dwayne Johnson initially went to play football at the University of Miami. He aspired to play professional football, but went undrafted in the 1995 NFL draft. So he signed up with the team from the Canadian Football League, but was cut from the team in his first season. Instead of wallowing in pity, he decided to pivot to professional wrestling. And for 10 years, he made a name for himself and won the world champion title 10 times. And if that wasn't enough, he decided to pivot again and go into acting. He first started out with a small role in movies like The Mummy Returns, but then eventually moved into bigger leading roles. Now, I'm not saying we should all follow Dwayne Johnson's footsteps and try to be a Hollywood movie star, but he provides a great example of someone who wasn't afraid to constantly reinvent himself despite how uncomfortable it was. When he tried to reinvent himself from a failed football player to a professional wrestler, he was probably laughed at. And again, when he tried to reinvent himself from a professional wrestler to a movie star, people probably didn't take him seriously. But that did not stop him. He persevered and grew from the process of reinvention. We're living at an interesting time in history where industries and careers are changing at a faster pace than we can comprehend. 1,000 years ago, you could have started your career as a carpenter, and your son, your grandson, and your great-grandson could have literally done the same thing that you did because the world didn't change too much. But today, yesterday's industries no longer exist today. And jobs that existed when I graduated college 20 years ago only exist in history books. So if we want to thrive in not just today's world, but tomorrow's, we want to adapt this mindset of constant reinvention. And this doesn't mean we're throwing away our current identity, but rather compounding it forward towards the next new exciting chapter in our lives. Thank you guys for watching, and in the spirit of reinvention, if you'd like to learn more about some of the best careers for the future, please check out my video here. Until next time, all the best.